Hello everybody, it's your old pal Toymaker here, and what I'm going to be talking about today is Elgato's Teased, I say again, Teased HDMI 2.1 capture cards. Now, this is something I don't normally do. I'm not like some news YouTuber or a big tech guy, but this is something I don't really see anybody talking about, so I might as well jump the gun on this one while I still have the chance, if I am like first come, first serve kind of thing. So, anywho, I was randomly scrolling through Google one day trying to look around for HDMI 2.1 capture cards, and lo and behold, I saw this thing from Windows Central. Not sure if it's trustworthy or not, but take it with a grain of salt, and take my word with a grain of salt. You're free to do that. But I saw out of curiosity that they did mention Elgato's HDMI 2.1 capture cards. And after several years after the newer generation consoles came out, we were all wondering if everybody was just sleeping on this, that we were never going to be see these. I mean, eventually we would, but due to the major chip shortage and COVID and everything else in between, well, it was kind of understandable that these things were not going to be coming around anytime soon. But finally, after a couple months ago, we finally started to see them come into the market. First, starting with AverMedia's owned 2.1 capture card. I believe it's called the Live Gamer Ultra 2.1. But I have my own personal bias against AverMedia. I won't go into details, but I'm not a big fan. And surprisingly enough, the Asus actually has their own 4K 120. I'm sorry, I meant to say HDMI 2.1 capture card. The Capture Box 4K Pro, I think it was called. But yeah, Asus is not very known for their own capture cards. They've only released one previous one before. I think it was called the Capture Box 4K30, but it was not the true HDMI 2.1 or 2.0 capture card that everybody wanted. So it couldn't really compete with the competition. And we thought for sure that Elgato was sleeping in this one, but looks like they're finally waking up now that the competition is now heating up. And from it, what it looks like here, let me go into details of this whole thing. Apparently, during TwitchCon back in October, and again, this whole news was actually like brought up back in October, I believe late October, during TwitchCon. And apparently a YouTuber by the name of Senpai Gaming, I don't exactly know who that is, but otherwise I'm not sure if his word is credible or not. But he actually took some images and some pics at TwitchCon and in the Elgato booth. And from what we saw here, there are actually two new capture cards that Elgato actually has teased. But they haven't yet officially revealed them or even spoke about them on their Twitter or I guess anywhere. Not on YouTube, not on Twitter. They haven't officially announced it, but maybe eventually they will. Anywho, from what it says here in the Windows Central in this little paragraph here, the external 4K-X is looking like a solid improvement over the HD60X released last year. It offers 4K 144 HDR10 capture and playthrough, up to 1080p 240 high refresh rate capture, and it's plug and play across Windows, Mac, and now iPad. The internal 4K Pro option will bring 8K 60 HDR pass-through with true 4K 60 HDR capture. This replaces the 4K 60 Pro Mark II, which has been around for a few years now. Both of these capture cards bring HDMI 2.1 input and output. Now, I do have my opinions, I guess you could say, if that's the correct word for it. They do seem to have these big promises like 4K 144 capture and playthrough, as in pass through. I'm pretty sure that's what it meant. Now, I understand having like 120 or 144 hertz pass through. That's exactly what a lot of us have been asking for, but capture, that's a bit stretching it if you ask me. I'm not sure if it's actually going to fulfill that promise or not, but you know what? What the hell? As for the appearances of these two cards here. Oh, and also, by the way, for the 4K Pro, the HD 60 pass-through, I highly I mean, if you want to go do that, you're free to do so. Go right ahead, all power to you. But I doubt anyone is really paying in 8K 60, let alone capturing 8K 60. It's just not happening. I don't see anybody doing that. Even PC hardware is not as powerful, like, to break that limit. But I digress. To the appearances of these capture cards here, it looks like the 4KX kind of resembles the recently released HD 60X, which is supposed to be a step up from the HD 60S Plus, which I have, but the only improvement that it really has over the S Plus is that it allows for VRR pass-through and capture. And honestly, that's only a very small step up, and it's just not very worth it, which is why I just stuck with my S Plus rather than just blow my money on something that only provides a bare minimum upgrade, in my personal opinion. And if this hardware is supposed to be, if the hardware inside this capture card is supposed to be more powerful than the HD 60X, I'm pretty sure this capture card is going to be a little bigger than the HD 60X. Maybe by a few, an inch or 2 millimeters, centimeters, whichever measurement system you use. As for the 4K Pro, it obviously looks almost exactly like the 4K 60 Pro. It might be a little bigger, but thank God Elgato learned their lesson after the previous attempt on the 4K 60 Pro and realized just how hot that thing ran. Because I used to have the 4K 60 Pro, but that thing turned my PC into a space heater. I took it out almost immediately after and sent it right back. I did not want anything to do with that. As for what they're capable of, you can pretty much expect what you would actually want out of the HDMI 2.1 capture cards. Variable refresh rate, 4K 120 to 144 hertz pass-through, which HDR. As for capture, I'm still skeptical about the whole capture part of it. But you know what? If it actually fulfills that obligation, then all power to them. My final discussion on this, if that's the correct word for it, is how much are these things going to cost? The pricing of these. And I'm pretty sure I speak for everybody when I say that these are not going to be cheap. If they're promising this much power, I mean, right now the AverMedia capture card is around $300, give or take, and tax. As for these, I'm pretty sure they're going to be ranging between $300 to $400 each. And if they're going to be any lower than that, I will be surprised and relatively shocked. Because on a Reddit report from Elgato, or at least their reply, is that they were waiting for the chipsets, the whole chip market to restabilize itself after COVID in order to try to make these capture cards as cheap as humanly possible. And now they look like they've been on their way. This news came out around October, so it might be coming around within the next month or two. So with that said, that's basically all I have to say about this tease. Now, whether or not it's actually real, or if it's just a simple tease, and whether or not this is actually going to be the final design of both of these capture cards is up to debate. Now, whatever you may think or feel, just leave it in the comments and tell me what you think of these. Do you like the design, or do you want something more fancy, more slim, something more aesthetically pleasing, if however your description of aesthetically pleasing may be. But other than that, that's all I got to say. So if you like this video, if you like the information I am giving you, Leave a like, leave a comment, and otherwise, I would recommend saving your money on these newer capture cards and just wait to see what comes out because Asus's own HDMI 2.1 capture card has yet to reach the market yet. It is officially advertised, but it's not released yet, and we don't know the price of it. I believe it's already being released around Taiwan, but not anywhere else as of yet. So we only know so much about it. But other than that, I wait on the Elgato capture cards and then compare all the three major HDMI 2.1 capture cards to see what you want in the end. But other than that, I'll see you all later. And with that, I'll bid you all adieu.